Hello and welcome to another build by Magic Tooth. This time I'm showcasing the Crossbow Necromancer and how to min-max this build. Quite fun build, I must say. It's a bit different than my other playstyles that I play. We're gonna start by showing off the skill points here. It's quite straightforward when it comes to Poison Bone. We just go max these three because that gives us the synergy for Deadly Poison. Curses, we go 1 to Decrepify and 1 to Lower Resist. When the gear is equipped, this Lower Resist will go to minus 100%. If you cannot reach the gear that I have to get minus 100% low resistance, you need to click a few extra times to get to minus 100 here. But following the guide, you won't need to do that if you acquire all the items. But yeah, if there is something big that you're missing in one skill, it's definitely worth investing here so you can actually break immunities, because you need to go above 100 to break something that's immune. A few monsters have more than 100 poison resistance in the maps, and in the game, I believe in Hell as well, it is definitely true. But yeah, those monsters will be taken care of by our Summons Mercenary. So summoning skills, this is a bit more interesting, I reckon. So what I do is I go to, first of all I get I go revives up to 7 monsters available without buffs. This is because of the gear I'm using that I will swap. Eventually I'm gonna show you the gear soon, but 7 revives, which would be 15 clicks with the gear I have and the gear I plan to be using in the future as well. Then I go to click on Convocation 10 times, and that will bring the Convocation to 4.1 second cooldown, which is manageable. It's okay, you know. It would be nice to have lower, but you know, 4.1 second works. And the golem we use is a blood golem. That's because it gives us life on hit aura, and that replenishes our life and also the life of our revives. And then we go the rest of our points into Summon Mastery over here to make our revives and the golem a bit more tanky. When it comes to Skeleton Warrior and Skeleton Mage, I found them to just be way too weak to use in maps that you will just spend too much time reviving them, and it will just slow you down, really. So I don't recommend even using them on a hotkey or anything like that. Yeah, don't recommend it at all. As you can see on the stat points, we go strength and dex until we can equip our crossbow and armor and stuff, and then vitality rest. Pretty straightforward there. Now let's have a look in game what we're dealing with here. We're gonna show off the gear and the mercenary. Let's start with mercenary. Okay, for mercenary, first thing that you might notice, the resistances are not good. That's because our helmet is not good. We want to replace this helmet eventually. But let's start with the weapon. So the weapon of choice, in my opinion, would be Doom, because it gives Holy Freeze aura, and that's basically why. And another good thing about Doom is the enhanced damage roll is very, very, very good on this rune word, and it also has freezes target, which is very good against certain monsters that hit very hard, namely Blood Lords, that will be just frozen by the mercenary. And it has also 45 attack speed, so reaching the attack speed breakpoint on the mercenary isn't really that hard to do, since the attack speed breakpoint that you want to get is either 60% or 75%. So basically all you need is an attack speed splash jewel, and there you go, you have 60 attack speed, which is very nice. Or you can get another attack speed enhanced damage jewel and have 75, which is the max. Now I don't really run that because I have a shaft stop from before that I use. Shaft stop from before has splash attack speed and attack speed enhanced damage, and like I said, this is way over the breakpoint for attack speed. But if the mercenary gets decrepified, he will not be as slow as he would be otherwise. So I'm running with this armor. You definitely can do it your way if you want to not really care about him having a slow attack speed. If he gets cursed by the Decrepify, then you can definitely run some Vex runes in here to avoid Hydra damage, and some runes to give him more all res. The mercenary duels for this particular build become very, very cheap because of the doom. As long as you get the shaft stop, you actually honestly don't even need any 4-socket slams on it. You could go with an ethereal shaft stop and have a very high defense instead. But that's up to you. I prefer having more damage. The shaft stop is good, and I reckon the best for mercenary because it has physical damage reduction 30%. And that helps you to avoid having him getting one-shotted by strong monsters and have a chance to heal him before he dies by using, you know, shift potion. So holding shift, pressing 1, 2, 3 in my case will heal the mercenary. So keep in mind that's why I use shaft stop on every mercenary that I have. And the helmet, I want to not use this. This is a temporary thing. What I want to have in the helmet slot is a 3 open socket vampire gaze with 30 physical damage reduction and 8 life stolen per hit. And that is because then you hit 50% physical damage reduction total, which is the cap in Path of Diablo. And the other sockets, like I said, if you have a 3-socket Vampire Gaze and 4-socket Shaft Stop, you have a lot of nice things you can do with those 3 sockets. You can get very high poison resist, you can get very high fire resistance, you could even go runes in the slots and have almost immunity to map rolls like Conviction or lower resist, for the mercenary at least. I mean, your character will be very squishy nonetheless, so yeah, I wouldn't really run those maps with this build either way, because the resistance is actually a pretty hard thing to achieve on the Necromancer with this build. So we went for damage and attack speed, and for the Vampire Gaze, what I would have put in here that's not in here right now is a Charm Rune to avoid him being frozen, and then the other 2 sockets is whatever you want to put really. What you could do is you could have hit recovery, like a Shale Rune, or 2 Shale Runes. Honestly, we're gonna check out the Act 2 Mercenary Breakpoint. Could be for hit recovery, it's the same as Sorceress, so you know, you could go 20%, you go 14%, you could go 30%, you could go 42%, maybe not 42 with the, well, it depends. You put the Child Runes maybe here, you could actually get a high hit recovery on the mercenary if that's your thing. My thing is for the mercenary to have a lot of damage, because we will be having some maps with some really squishy poison immune monsters that the mercenary will just one-shot. So that's why I went damage attack speed on this, and I plan on putting a Charm Rune and maybe a, you know, all res life or all res attack speed duel in the mercenaries 3-socket Vampire Gaze whenever that happens, but I'm not able to obtain one right now, so we're using this just as a temporary. Don't need to worry about this too much. It's mainly getting the shaft stop and the doom that's going to make the big difference, and get some life leech on the helmet is what you want to do, and the Vampire Gaze gives life leech and PDR, so we get that. That's the ideal mercenary setup. Alright, now the Necromancer is pretty low on life, as you can see, almost 3k, pretty abysmal for mapping, and the way to avoid dying is to have revives around you, and hopefully get more of these with a lot of life, which I don't have. So I mean, we're using some pretty basic stuff here. So yeah, there's a lot of life to be gained. As far as the small charms goes, they're pretty awful as well. They only planes more or less. There is some with hit recovery, but hit recovery is not a big deal in this build, because you're not supposed to get hit that much. You're supposed to stand back, and if you get hit, you're probably only getting hit by 1 or 2 things, and the hit recovery doesn't matter. What matters most is having life, so that you don't actually die from that 1 or 2 hits that do reach you somehow. And when it comes to the resistance rolls on these, as you can see, one of these are lightning resist and the others are all res. This has to do with your torch roll. So here, if you get a 20-20 torch, obviously that's better. You get more life and you get more resist, and the Annie roll is pretty good in my case, so we can't complain about that. But the torch can be improved and the resistances will improve. As you can see, the stats over here, we're lacking in lightning resist in hell. And okay, let's move on to the weapon, which you should then get, as you need the weapon obviously. And the weapon is a Doomslinger upgraded. You upgrade it so that you get the higher attack speed breakpoint. The runes and the jewels inside is a jar rune. This is mandatory, otherwise you will miss almost all the time. And then you get facets for poison damage, and if you want you can get a charm rune to increase your chance of freezing targets, which will give you a bit more survivability. However, not much, due to the fact that freezes target doesn't really translate that well in hell. And they will not only have a very much lower chance to getting frozen in the first place, but also the duration they are frozen is gonna be severely penalized by being in hell. And the way it's calculated, your chance to freeze and your freeze duration on said target is your level compared to the monster's level, and then the freeze target value, which in this case is +3. So this will get more and more effective as I level up. My character, might have noticed, it's not that high level, it's only 89 so far. We're working on that obviously, and mostly the reason I'm working on it is for that the charm rune to start kicking in and actually doing some decent work. But that's what we're running for the weapon. And as you can see over here, we have cast rate at 50%, which is a breakpoint for Necromancer. Is 48. So yeah, 50% attack cast rate is what I would recommend getting. Trying to get 75 is just it's not gonna work, it's not gonna be good. So we get 50% cast rate, that's good enough. And the way to get 50% is using one ring without cast rate, in this case Ravenfrost. Obvious reasons to use Ravenfrost is attack rating and dexterity. Dexterity helps us equip the crossbow, which requires 95. So we're definitely clicking a few times in dexterity when we are equipping to be able to equip this. So this helps out with saving those points and saving them for putting into vitality, right? Physical damage reduction helps us survive, and the attack rating helps us hit on elites, because Ja ignores target defense on trash mobs, but it doesn't do anything on elites or bosses. So we want to get attack rating and dex roll as high as possible on the Ravenfrost, and if you're lucky you could get a physical damage reduction slam. Also, what could be good for you is to have faster run walk slam, but I would say physical damage reduction is a bit better because it could prevent a few deaths, and faster run walk could also do that, but not as reliable as PDR in my opinion. Second ring slot is FCR ring, Bull Kathos FCR slam. Hopefully you get 5% life leech, and in this case, like if you don't have much currency, you could go, FCR Raven and a CNC Bull Kathos 5%. You will get the same breakpoint. You will not have 5% extra physical damage reduction though, but yeah, if you're poor, you could start off like that, no problem. And the amulet, I really recommend using this instead of Maras. Maras is really bad, honestly, for almost everything in the game. And Seraphim is very good for this class, because your main problem is going to be having the attack rating for the elites and bosses. And you don't want to miss them, because if you miss them, you're not going to life leech, and you're not going to get life on ranged hit from the blood golem aura, and you won't apply the poison. You need to hit the target to apply the poison. So elites is the biggest problem, to actually just hit them in the first place. So we get Seraphim, it can have +2 all skills, well, it has +2 all skills, and we slam another 1 extra all skill on it, so we get a +3 all skill. What we want to do with the all skill, see, we have Bull Kathos giving all skill, we have the amulet giving all skill. That's to buff the multiple shots, so that we shoot more shots with multiple shot. But not only that, it also helps with our build with the skill tree, because we're using all 3 skill tabs. So, you know, necro skill is nice and all, like I crafted amulet with +2 necro skill is nice and all, but it doesn't do anything for multi-shot. So really want to get Seraphim here. There's like, I think I mentioned 4 reasons to do it, so it's definitely the best amulet. And as you might notice, we're landed exactly at -100% with lower resist using these items, so I recommend it. But if you like missing a +3 slam, you know, on your Seraphim, you need to click here once more to be able to break immunities. I think I mentioned that already, but anyway, moving on. Arachnid Mesh, this one is CNC'd, it's not ideal. What you want is to have it pierce slammed. But I don't have that yet, so we're using this for now. That's about it. All skills and FCR, that's all you need on it. Everybody knows that, I guess. The boots, this is more of an interesting item. And the boots is, you know, some kind of high resistance boots. You know, that's what you want to get. A rare boot that has a lot of resistances. And hopefully more run walk than I have. And maybe even hit recovery if you're really, really lucky. And yeah, you want to slam this thing. You want to hope that you get as much lightning resistance as possible on these boots. The reason why you want the boots to have lightning resistance is due to our next 2 items. The glove has 30% cold resist. And we slam attack speed on the glove. This is the slam you want to have on the glove, because with this crossbow you only need 8 extra attack speed and we get 10 from the slam. So there you go, that's all the attack speed you need to hit as fast as possible with this crossbow. And then the armor is the second reason we want our boots to have as much lightning resist as possible, and the armor is bramble. So the bramble armor has poison resistance +100, so the poison resistance, just forget about it, it's going to be good all day, every day. And it also has 30 fire resist, so as you might notice now, it's fire resist, poison and cold from these 2 pieces. So your boot should make up for that. And if your boot does not make up for that, you need to make up for that with your small charms. You know, look at my small charm over here, 11 lightning resist. So we have already, you know, this is not a min-max build by any means, but we're getting there. You know, we're using what we have and such. And the torch is trash as well. So you could get, you know, you can get 75 in all resistances by having a better roll on these items that I use. Or yeah, and the bramble is good. Not only because of the resistances, you know, that's easy to get an armor, but what makes bramble the only armor that you should probably use on this build to really be strong is the poison damage increased by up to 50%. I got a 44% roll. We work on that later when I have enough room to do rerolls. But the other good thing about it is it has hit recovery 50%. That's huge. So that's awesome for armor to have 50% hit recovery. And that's the main reason we use it. You might ask why I'm using a full plate mail, because it's armor for normal. I'll explain exactly why. It has 80 strength requirement, and the way your necromancer looks when you have it on is just absolutely sexy. And this goes for all classes in the game. If you have full plate mail, you will look so sexy. Your character will be so sexy. So we use full plate mail. And another reason to use full plate mail, especially in Bramble Runeword, or let's say Enigma Runeword in a different build that I made, is because Enigma and Bramble are runewords that gives a +300 flat defense. It does not give enhanced defense. So what I'm getting at is, if you were to use an Archon plate, you would only have like 150 extra defense anyway from making this runeword. So the armor base in this build doesn't really matter at all, to be honest with you. What matters more is the way the map is rolled. It could just be blessed aim and no armor ever matters, you know. So that's why we use Bramble. The Thorns aura is trash. It doesn't really help you at all, but it looks cool, I guess, you know, whatever. The bolts, this is also a rare item, as well as the boots are rare, so this could vary depending on what you find and what's available on trade site and such. So, but what you want on the bolts ideally is +1 all skills and up to 25% piercing attack. And we're almost there, I guess, you know. Corrupting the bolts is not necessary, and it's not worth it in case you brick something good with like 1 all skill and 20 pierce, which I have right now. I'm not gonna risk it because it's just way too hard to find good bolt. And the slams on bolts are pretty weak. It doesn't really improve your character that much. Alright, moving on to the swap. The swap, again, like a lot of things in this build, is not ideal, but it is what it is. It's a good way to start anyway. And the way to that I made it right now, which I will change, but I will show you what I have right now. It's a lidless for 1 all skill and 20 FCR. The 20 FCR doesn't really matter because the next breakpoint is 75 FCR, and I mean it doesn't reach it, you know, at 70 with this. So, but a 1 all skill and it weighs less than a spirit, so we're not gonna sacrifice, you know, tons of strength just to have 1 extra all skill here, and it's a temporary, but we'll get to that soon. The other temporary swap item that I'm using right now, just because, is the call to arms. 1 all skills and +6 battle orders. It helps buff up the summons and the mercenary, and the +1 to all skills helps us to improve our multi-shot that we get from the crossbow. So we get more shots from multi-shot by having all skills in our gear. It will cover a wider area, so it will be a lot easier to kill stuff. And but what's ideal to have on the swap? The ideal thing would be to have a blue Necromancer Shrunken Head with +3 deadly poison, +3 poison bone skills on the shield slot, and the main slot should be a 6-socketed crystal sword with +5% poison damage facets in it, and that way we can pre-buff the deadly strike as well as you know, well actually we can pre-buff the deadly strike to do many thousands more damage, let me tell you. Okay, and I also forgot to mention the helmet, but let's talk about the helmet. The helmet is a vampire gaze with a pierce slam, so you can get up to 20% piercing slam on helmets. And what else do you need from the vampire gaze? Well, first of all, you want to have physical damage reduction, which is like, it's nice, but what really needs to be had that you don't have otherwise, it's the mana stolen per hit. So you don't drink potions all day. You want to have the vampire gaze for the mana stolen per hit, extra life stolen per hit. It synergizes well since you're already using a Bulkatos ring, so we're at 12% life leech with this build, which, you know, it's decent. It does something at least. And yeah, that's the roles you want to look for in the vampire gaze. And you might ask, what's the jewel in this vampire gaze? Because it's kind of hard to tell, I guess. Well, the jewel is a rare jewel in this case. Hit recovery, requirements, and 24 lightning resist. I recommend looking for requirements and lightning resist jewel for the helmet. The reason why you want requirements is because most players who find a vampire gaze knows that in order to slam 3 sockets, you need to upgrade it first, and that would bring up the strength requirement to 106 or 107 maybe. I'm not remembering maybe perfectly here, but you're saving some clicks that you could go into vitality by getting requirements and lightning resist on your jewel. The hit recovery that I have in this case on the jewel is not something you really need, but I had this jewel self-found, so why not? Yeah, we just use it because pretty much it's as simple as that. When it comes to the hit recovery breakpoint, you know, it starts at 56, where you have a decent hit recovery. So as you can tell on the left hand side of your screen over here, I have 72. So like, this doesn't really make any difference in this at this point in time, but since I have 72, I'm aiming for 86 total. And that's why I thought I would just use this one and get 86 hit recovery, but it's not necessary. Your goal is not to get hit. Your goal is to stand back and use your summons to get hit, you know, take hits, right? And yeah, mention that. Okay, so now let's have a look. What can we do with this character? First of all, if you're gonna go map, Musty Crypt is a good way to start because it has no poison immunes that you cannot break. So that's a good way to start. And before we go mapping, we could go here, it doesn't matter. We just go somewhere where there's no players, wherever, and we start shooting out 7 of these desecrates, and then we go revive, and we click on the arms or hands of the Urdars. That's how you get to select them without too much issue. Summon our golem, convocate, stand, do not move your character. Your monsters will not move unless you move. So as you can see, there's a monster here, but these guys can't move because of the way the game is coded. they can't move unless you move. So when I move, they instantly start running around. And then I convocate, they're gonna stand still. So that's a good thing to know when you're buffing these monsters, is just convocate and stand still. Don't worry about it. They can't even reach to. Okay, they could actually reach to attack. So I didn't. But anyway, yeah. So that's what we do. And when it comes to poison immunes in let's say a different map, which would be, you know, and Desecrated Temple, there is those wasps that are poison immune. You cannot break them with the low resist minus 100. They have something above 100% poison resist. So that's why I like the mercenary to have a doom and that more damage from the jewels in there, in that. And also in that Desecrated Temple, you will get decrepified by the monsters there. So this attack speed, overkill, breakpoint in attack speed, it really can help you with the decrepify problem. Now we have two maps here that I'm going to showcase. One has almost 600 density. It has low resist on hit, and it has blessed aim, and it has piercing attack, which is not really that much to mention, but we take 70 physical damage when attacking. So let's see how we fare there. So when we got the Thorns map, when all these items that we have, we cast Deadly Poison to activate it. We need to do that before we start shooting stuff, otherwise we do no damage. And the Deadly Poison buff lasts for about 4 minutes. But as you can see, with that Thorns roll, thanks to our items having life leech and our golem having the aura for life on ranged hit, then we don't suffer from these kind of rolls. So that's a good thing to know. And how do we play this thing? We don't do that, because then we die. See how when we get hit, we really getting like fucking destroyed. So we're trying to not get hit, honestly. You can't really play like a Javzon or anything with this build. You need to make sure you kill almost everything on the screen. And here we have a slinger. See how we removed this poison resistance from him. He was immune, but now he wasn't. And we just shoot like this. Yeah, if you have worse gear than I have and still want to play this class, you're probably best to use Decrepify. Be a tiny bit slower. It's not really a big difference, to be honest with you guys. The poison damage is very huge in this. But as long as you have that chance, that ability to remove 100 poison resistance with lower resist, you're golden. But definitely safer to play with your Decrepify as your main curse. Because you are extremely squishy with this build, even with the stuff I have. And I could only get one more extra physical damage reduction, so I pretty much have as much physical damage reduction as the game will allow me to get without sacrificing anything important. We're min-maxing over here, right? So here we go. Immune, not immune anymore, and they're fucking dead. It goes very quickly. The poison damage is very good. So Decrepify can definitely be your main curse, and I definitely recommend using Decrepify as your main curse if you're having problems surviving. So that was a bit of a not really super difficult map roll, and we don't really have problems here. One thing that I want to find is an elite monster, because elite monsters, we definitely want to cast Decrepify on elite monsters, because they do not care about Jarun being ignore target defense, and it could be hard to actually land a hit and apply the poison in the first place. So there's an elite possessed. We're gonna hit him. Let's see what our chance to hit. It went from... oh well. Whatever. It's hard to say the numbers in the middle of this map, but you will notice when you play this thing that if you don't Decrepify the elites, you will just miss, hit, miss, hit. Like, it will be very, very hard to hit them. So now using Decrepify here, it seems dangerous in this corner, so I'm using Decrepify and shoot them here with low resist, because it's a choke point. They can't really get through without. He get a bit too close, we cast Decrepify, but a bit too close, to cast Decrepify. A bit too close, we cast Decrepify, and now we can go low resist because the guy is just occupied with summons over there. You just need to keep an eye on what's happening, move away if the monsters are going for your head, and when you convocate to, you know, have your minions help you, you need to move away instantly, and don't move into the monsters, move away from the monsters so that your summons can actually move in front of you and block the damage. So let's try and convocate again on a stupid spot, and I'll show you, and instantly go backwards so that they run forwards. There we go. But it's another elite over here somewhere, throwing multiple spears. I think he died, I'm not sure. Elite dead over there. The damage, as you can tell, is quite good. It's obviously not a Javzon or a Trapsin, nothing really compares to those two. But they are overpowered, so honestly, whatever. And there we go, we found the head. Maybe it's my glory day here. No, definitely not. Trash roll. Yeah, we're trying to find that. But anyway, yeah, that was a map that might not be a good map to roll because of the thorns, but it doesn't matter with the thorns. And what else did we have? We had blessed aim on there. We had low resist on hit. We are constantly being affected by low resist, but what happened just there is I ran out of deadly poison, so that's why none of this was dying. That's also something that you need to learn to recognize, is if you're standing on the same spot for too long and shooting and you feel like nothing is happening, your deadly poison ran out of time. Recast it and you will see what happens then. And one more thing about multi-shot that you may or may not know, it's you can control how you fire the arrows. So having the mouse close to your body, you will shoot a big flare of arrows like this, covering a wide area. Let's show it like that. See how they are spreading, and then you can control the way the arrows spread. And I recommend having the mouse cursor pretty close or halfway close to your character, because you only need to hit the monsters about once each, and the only thing that's preventing you from hitting every monster once each is your chance to pierce. So that's a big thing to get, you know, piercing above a certain percent. Like you want to have close to 90, I would say, or higher than that, to be honest with you. It's possible, I believe, to get 99 with everything perfectly rolled, like the bolts and the helmet, the belt, slam, and I think you reach 99 if I remember correctly. So anyway, that's about it for the build, I think. Oh, almost died right there. A bit too many monsters, I was skipping these over here. And other maps that can be ran, I honestly don't know at this moment in time. We just started out this character not too long ago. Oh, there we got to bring some monsters here because I'm getting hit by those things. And there is an elite over there as well. And now you could see after the Crapify, the elite dies. Before the Crapify, nothing was happening. I don't know if you noticed that, but I'm casting it pretty fast, I guess. Yeah, so that's the build. You can see the clear speed on the screen right now. It's not bad. It's not awesome, but it is what it is. It's pretty good. There's a berserker over there. Again, we teleport and move into the wall so that the monsters move away from the wall and not have to run past us. If we teleport, let's say there's monsters here, and we walk this way, obviously that's stupid. But most importantly, all of our summons will go like this and we will just die, because everything will hit us before our summons gets there. So it's very important when you teleport to move back as soon as you teleport. It's the first thing you do. You don't teleport and start shooting, you teleport, move back. Like right here, move back, otherwise those birds will hit me. Here's another monster, we need to stand here now. Otherwise he would have gotten us. And don't be afraid to use the Gratify either to avoid dying. It really helps to cast it in big rooms, not only for yourself but for your potential teammates that you might have in the game. And yeah, this Crossbow Necromancer is very good for team play as well, but in team maps you would probably just run around and curse for the most of the time. Run around and decrepify or lower resist the monsters depending on what you have, and the coverage is quite good. It's obviously not a full curse necro that's covering like a screen and a half, but you can definitely keep up with your team since you have convocation at a high level, decent cooldown 4 seconds, and you have a enough all skills to break most immunes, not only poison but other types of immunes for your teammates who might also be running a conviction aura. So this one is this necromancer is not only fun on the solo play aspect of things, it's also very, very good in team play because of the curses. And the mercenary has doom as well, which has another aura to help people survive. When it comes to like hell content, it's pretty easy. Right now you might have noticed my summons, my revives are dead. They have a duration, and that's what happened. They didn't die from damage, they all died at the same time, and that's due to duration. The duration ran out. So that kind of slows us down when we're mapping, that we need to not only notice when that happens, but we also need to re-summon these guys. And drink a mana potion to be able to have enough mana to fucking do all the things. But yeah, let's have a look at some hell content. Warstone Keep. It's a lot easier than a map, obviously, but let's just for... Oh, we ran out of deadly poison, that's why he didn't take any damage. Yeah, we need to be moving around the character because we don't want to take damage in this build. It's not very tanky, even though we have 25% PDR and capped resistances more or less. Right now we're amplified as well. Here we got some minions that were Serpent Magos. They were all immune to poison, but they're not anymore because we just broke their immunity with the curse. I guess that's about it. Hopefully I remember to mention everything in this video this time, and hopefully you find a way to build a really fun necromancer that isn't really what other people play that much, and gathering the items for it is not that difficult because of those reasons. You know, it's off meta build, but it performs pretty well and is absolutely appreciated in team games and red maps and stuff like that because of the curses that you have and the meat shields that you have running around and helping your team in a lot of ways. And that's it for this video. Like if you liked the video. If you didn't like the video, like it anyway, and have a good day. See you later.